All right, hello, welcome back. So far, the league has been going very, very well. It's been a great league start. I hope all of you have had just as good as a league start with Essence Drain. I know the clear's been very well, especially with Delirium, all going according to plans. uh, so far, this build has cleared up to red maps with absolute ease. Really, you don't need much other than 4 link capped res and a bunch of life. Delirium is a little tricky. There are lots of mobs that are very, very rippy, and so it's kind of tricky. With all the on death effects and whatnot. But mostly, enough life, enough ES, you should be fine up until red maps. So let's talk about if you have just hit maps. You just finished up the story. You just hit maps and you're wondering maybe what gear you can get because you probably do have a little bit of currency. So if you're just getting to maps, I'd recommend you buy a Cane of Unraveling. These are really only a few chaos right now, and they're really, really good for Essence Drain and Contagion. They give +2 to all chaos spell skills, so you don't even need to have your Essence Drain linked into this. You can just have a tabula, with your Essence Drain in it. Gives a bunch of chaos damage, some cast speed for power charges, and look at this, a ton of chaos damage over time multiplier. That's a lot of damage. This staff gives you a whole load of damage, and it's super, super cheap right now because it is, not very unique for a drop. They're pretty common. So they dropped in price very, very fast, but that's all right because they're so good. You should definitely get one right away. Also, right when you hit maps, you can use a tabula, but if you just go to Path of Exile trade and go over to the armor section, so let's do item category, let's do body armor, and we can do links. So you want 3 blue, 2 green, and if you want an empower, you probably won't have an empower for a long time. You'll want a level 2, level 3. So we can even just go ahead and do 4 blue, 2 green, because your last link should be decay with that essence drain. So now we're going to search for that. And look at this. All of these body armors, they are corrupted. So you won't be able to change any of the colors on them. But that's why we searched specifically for these certain colors. So this is way better than a tabula. You get some stats, especially with stuff like this. When you get evasion rating on your chest, you're also getting energy shield because of escape artist. Look at this. +1 max energy shield per 6 evasion rating on body armor, and then you get evasion rating per max energy shield on your helmet. So that is very, very nice. So you can try to look for something like this, it would have like an evasion, ES hybrid base, but really you can just grab, this has life, it's not bad, it's got energy shield, a little fire res, but if you've got the money, this is like a really decent upgrade and it should last you up till red maps super easily. We just scroll down, for 45 chaos, you can get some pretty decent stuff. This one's not very good, but you kind of just look for life, and some res. We'll keep scrolling. Look at that. There's a 40 fire res, that's not bad. It's an evasion ES base. That's pretty good. Wow, look at this. For 54 chaos, you can get 80 life, 20 cold res, 17 lightning res on a 6 link for 54 chaos. That's pretty good. So after your Cane of Unraveling, you want to make sure all of your resistances are capped once you get to maps. But, this is probably your next upgrade that you should be looking for. Getting a 6 link is a lot of damage, and you can get a 6 link, with the exact colors you need for pretty cheap, right? You get some extra ES too, because it's an evasion hybrid base, and you get 80 life on that for 54 chaos. You're not going to find a 6 link for cheaper than that. And so that's what I would recommend right when you get to maps. A lot of people are having survivability issues, and I would really make sure that your flasks are set up. Now, I am a different kind of build. We'll talk about it in a little bit, but you want to make sure you have a Jade Flask. This gives us a ton of evasion rating. Really, you don't have to worry about the increased effect, reduced duration, or any of the rolls on here. The big ones are just being immune to bleeding, immune to freeze, and immune to curses. You just have to have those 3 somewhere on your flasks. They don't have to be, on these specific ones. These are just the ones I happen to get. But you want to have a Jade. You get a lot of flat evasion rating, so you're going to get hit less. You can do a Basalt, so 15 additional Fizz damage reduction. That's really good, so you take less damage from hits. And then another 10 chance to dodge attacks, 10 chance to dodge spell hits. And you get phasing, which is very nice. You get to walk through monsters. You're becoming ethereal or whatever, so you can walk through stuff. Now you'll also have a life flask here, because you'll be hybrid. You'll have a life flask. You can probably have burning on that, and you make it an instant flask, so it'll have like reduce effect, but it'll give you life instantly. Really, you just want any life flask. It doesn't have to really have much, and the burning is really nice to have on that. So when you get burned, you just pop your life flask, and it's all good. When you're mapping, you just spam all your flasks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're going, you're moving, you kill a pack, your flask should be back up, you spam them again. It's got to be constant, and you see this is the phasing, where you become white and all that. You're able to walk through stuff. If your flasks aren't up, you're much less tanky. See here, my chance to evade attacks is 35%. When I pop my Jade, it goes up to 58%. More than half of the time I'll be dodging attacks, which is very good. So make sure, get a Cane of Unraveling for damage, and then a 6-link body armor for a little more survivability. Now, all right, so let's talk about, you just got to maps. Let's talk about, hybrid versus Chaos Inoculation, CI, or low life. So hybrid was the nice way to start your character and getting to maps. Very little investment, you just shore up your resistances, you get life, you get ES. But maybe you have a little more money. Maybe you're thinking about going into Chaos Inoculation. And so this keystone makes your maximum life 1, but you become immune to chaos damage. Now, this lets us no longer scale our life. I'm low life right now, so we'll talk about this later. But normally, and this note is up here, normally chaos damage will go through your energy shield, so you won't be able to build just energy shield on your gear unless you get this. So getting this makes your life 1, but you're immune to chaos damage now. So you can just build a bunch of energy shield, and the chaos damage won't go through the shield and hit your life. So this lets us just get ES on all of our gear, a ton of ES, get 290 here. The shield doesn't have much, but you get a bunch of ES on all of your gear, and you can get a much higher life pool, and you become just completely immune to chaos damage, which is very nice. If you see here, I have 100 chaos resistance. I just don't take chaos damage anymore. So this is a very, very tanky version of the build if you go CI. Now, I had tried this out yesterday, and it went very well. It's really tanky. It's nice being immune to chaos damage. The degens on the ground or being poisoned no longer does anything to you. You're completely immune. You don't take any chaos damage. It is very, very nice. This costs a lot of money, though. You do have to get a lot of ES on your gear, and so people know this, and the ES rolls are kind of rare, and so they're priced, as if they're very rare, and they're pretty expensive. So you have to be prepared for that. If you do plan on going CI, you should probably buy all of your gear in advance so that you can swap, check it in Path of Building. Make sure you're going to have at least like 5 or 6k energy shield for sure before you swap over. With Discipline, I'm at like 6k here. I do have some points. I could get these energy shield wheels, but you want to be 5.5, 6k at least for softcore. So it costs a lot of money, but you get a lot of energy shield, which is very nice. But with Essence Drain Contagion and these Deliriums, you want to be tanky, but you also want to have a lot of damage, right? We need to have a lot of damage because these Delirium mobs, they scale really, really hard in these late red maps like T14 to T16. Once you get, into a long map, it gets more and more delirious, and they become more and more tanky and do more damage. So you have to be tanky, but you also have to get a lot of damage. And so that's where going low life comes in. Now, low life is very nice because you get the bonuses of stacking a ton of energy shield, but on top of, you can use your life here. You see my life is no longer maximum of 1, I can reserve, for example, discipline on my life by using the blood magic support. So I socket this in, and now I get to reserve my life as well as my mana for auras and whatnot. Also, you get pain attunement, which is 30% more spell damage when on low life. Now, low life counts as having 30% or less of your life. So you have to make sure you reserve down to, 29%, 30% of your life so that this is activated, so that you're technically on the low life state. You want your character to be in low life. This doesn't work with CI because, having 1 life out of 1 is 100% of your life. You can't be low life when you're Chaos Inoculation. But you can if you pick up a Chevron's Wrapping. Normally, remember, if you're not immune to chaos damage, it's going to go through your energy shield. That would mean anytime I take chaos damage, it only has to deal 500 damage to me to kill me, right? Because I only have 500 life and it would go through my energy shield. But with Chevrons, chaos damage does not bypass energy shield. You see that very last one, the very last line on the item. So with Chevron's wrappings, chaos damage doesn't bypass energy shield. Now, you're not immune to chaos damage anymore. I still only have minus 40. I need to get more chaos resistance on my gear because I'm taking a lot of chaos damage right now. But at least it is not going through my energy shield because I have a Chevron's wrappings. So you get 30% more damage. That's like a whole nother link. That's very, very nice. You can also reserve your life. Once I level up my blood magic, I'm going to put zealotry on blood magic so that I get 15% more spell damage on top of that. And, some consecrated ground, which gives you life regen, which is why we come over here and pick up Zealot's Oath. So life regen applies to energy shield instead. So we're going to have our energy shield regenning, from zealotry. We get a bunch more spell damage. We get a lot more damage. It's very nice. It is more expensive because you do have to have a Chevron's wrappings. But, if you have the money, it's definitely the way to go. So I think right now, low life is definitely the way to go, especially if you have a lot of money and you want to reinvest it. Maybe you hit red map deliriums and you're kind of dying a bunch. That's what happened to me. Now I swapped over to low life and I have more damage. I have more ES. I have a little more survivability. Red map deliriums are crazy rippy though. So just having a high effective HP pool, in the form of a bunch of energy shield, that's not enough anymore, unfortunately. Maybe they'll make deliriums a little more forgiving, but right now they are very, very deadly. So I have a neat little combo that's going to come in handy. So what you can go ahead and do is get a Lethal Pride. Now this cost me 3 exalts yesterday. So this is, when you have a lot of money and you get to red maps and you want to, reinvest it into your character. Lethal Pride, you want to have warriors under Kiluwava. And what this is going to do is change one of your keystones. In this case, it changed minion instability to Glancing Blows. So chance to block attack damage is doubled, chance to block spell damage is doubled. You take 50% of damage from blocked hits. Now, this on its own isn't too crazy, right? You do get double attack and double spell block, but you're taking half of the damage from every hit that you block anyway. So right now, I have 60 attack block, 36 spell block. I do plan to get some more. I picked some stuff up on the tree to get some block. But what makes this very, very good is when you get recover 4% or more. This roll can go up to 5. And I'll be getting this shield up a little more. But recover 5% or 4 of energy shield when you block. So now every time I block, I'm blocking 60% of hits. 60% of the time, I'm recovering 4% of my energy shield. Same with spells, 36 spell block. I'm recovering that much energy shield, which is very, very good. Now, I don't have much spell block. I picked some up on the tree, which is very nice. Get some spell block here. And you can also come over here and get a little more block for attacks and some spell damage for having attack block, which is very nice. You know, you get some spell damage scaling for having attack block. The easiest way to get more spell block, you can craft it on gear. I think you can roll it on like shields, and I think there's one on your helmet or something like that. But you can get a cluster jewel here. So this one, you know, I might unsocket some energy shield to get this small cluster. So, and you could probably roll these, you know, even better. But right now this one gives 1% chance to block spell. So that's 2 spell block, and then another 3 for this notable. So that's 2, you know, because all of this is being doubled. 2, 4, and then this is going to be 6. So that's 10 more spell block and 6 attack block, because that's being doubled. So if I socket that somewhere on the tree, you know, all of that's being doubled. So that is another 10 spell block. So I'd be at 46, and then I'd be at 66 attack block. That's pretty nice, right? You're blocking 46% of all spells. You do take half of the damage, but you're also recovering 40% of your energy shield every time you block, on top of, you know, being able to dodge a bunch. So this makes us much, much, much tankier. We're recovering a bunch of energy shield when we block, and we also recover our energy shield when we kill stuff. You know, every time you kill something, you get 2% of your ES. So the bunch of tiny mobs and bunch of little attacks from the Delirium, you know, you're blocking a bunch and you're recovering a bunch, so you're not really taking that much damage. This makes us a lot tankier, and I still have many upgrades to get with this. You know, there's still a Presence of Chayula I could get, which is the, I'll look that up for you quick. So, Presence of Chayula. This is going to give us 20% of our max life converted to energy shield. We become stun immune, which is very nice. And we get a bunch of chaos resistance. So with this, with no Presence of Chayula, you know, just my normal amulet, I'm at 6,200 ES. You know, that's not bad. That's a pretty decent ES pool. But when I buy a Presence of Chayula, I'm going to be up to 7,500 ES. That's very nice. And I still have lots of upgrades here. My gloves are pretty bad. They have barely any energy shield on them, but they do have a lot of resistance, which is why I have them. You know, 44 ES, that's not much. But I think if you want to go CI or low life, or I would recommend low life, you know, just because you need more damage. But the things you have to buy for this kind of blocking thing, the absolute buys, you have to have chevrons. You have to get a lethal pride. So these are pretty pricey. These are the big ones, but those are the biggest items that you need to get. You know, all of these other pieces here, this shield, you can just search for a shield like this. They're super cheap. You know, let's just go do that right now. You really only need to look for the recover or energy shield on, what is it? What are the words exactly? Recover shield when you block. So let's just look when you block. So recover life. Nope, we want energy shield. And then we'll look for that on shields. This roll is really common. It doesn't have to be very hard to get. You know, these are all armor bases. Here's an energy shield base. You know, 1 chaos. This is just like the absolute minimum that you need. You know, let's just search for one of these with, let's see, 100 energy shield minimum. So, you know, you can pay a little bit for that. That's 80 chaos. You know, maybe you just want 50 ES on it. You know, even a little bit. It all helps. You can get some res on there. Some cast speed. That's pretty nice. And some spell damage. You know, that's all good. You know, Bated Breath. This is very cheap. Since Trek is a nice boot to get if you're going CI or low life. You get some evasion rating, which is nice because we are still dodging. And you get a lot of energy shield on your boots with 30 move speed as well. Your rings, I needed an unset, you know, just because I'm running out of dual sockets now. But, you know, all of this is very good. I also found that having a cast when damage taken with a mortal call is very nice. on top of Tempest Shield. So I get another 6 attack and 6 spell block every time I block now, because that is doubled, remember, from glancing blows. So every time I take damage, this pops, and I get a bunch of more block. Withering Step as well, right? Inflicts 4 wither debuffs the first time each enemy enters the area. And this grants phasing. So this is very nice. And you get elusive, which is nice. It makes you harder to hit. So this gets wither buffs. If something hits you, it's now taking more chaos damage. And it gives you elusive, so you're harder to hit on top of that. If you have a lot of money, you're already low life, getting a despair on hit ring is very nice. This wasn't too expensive. I think these were like 20 or 30 chaos for despair on hit. This has a life. I had crafted energy shield on it, or it has resistance, and I crafted energy shield. Now this isn't for when your contagion and ED spreads, because when it's spreading, and it's popping all the packs, that's not hitting. What is hitting is when you cast your Essence Drain and you see how it hit the wall there, that's considered a hit. When it's spreading, that's not hitting. But this is a hit. So it's very nice on single target when maybe you don't have your Witchfire brew up anymore. Or, if you're shield charging, then those are getting despaired as well. I also found I need to have Fortify on my shield charge. So I get Fortify. That makes you take much less damage, which is very nice. Fortify. Whoops. Fortify support. So this makes you have Fortify when you hit something, with your shield charge. Every time I hit a boss or into a pack, I get the Fortify buff. So it reduces incoming damage from hits by 20%. This is very nice. You're just reducing a bunch of damage from getting hit, and then you're blocking, and then you're dodging everything. It makes you very tanky, and then on top of that, you have a big energy shield pool. So for some of the ascendancy changes, you still want the Ghost Dance and Escape Artist, Patient Reaper. I did go to Swift Killer for a little while. It was nice having the extra damage and the cast speed from Frenzy charges. But I found for just ease of mapping and just for turning my brain off, rolling a map and putting it in the map device, Weave of the Arcane is very nice. Movement skills cost no mana, so you can do a regen map while still casting your shield charge. And you get a bunch of attack and cast speed, which is very nice, another 20 cast speed. It makes your Contagion, Essence Drain combo happen much faster, which is very nice for clearing. And you have a 20% chance to recover 10% mana when you use a skill. And 6 reduced damage. So again, more damage reduction when you spend a total of 200 mana, which you will, as you go through the map. That's just going to happen. That's a few casts of your Essence Drain and Contagion combo. But the 20% chance to recover 10% mana, you can do no regen then. So when you're shield charging, it costs no mana, and you're going to be regaining mana, while you shield charge. So if you're doing no regen and you run out of mana, you just sit there and shield charge around a little bit. You get your mana back. You don't have to putz around with putting a mana flask on there and managing that. I like it. It just makes it more brain dead, and you get a little damage reduction, which is pretty nice, and some attack and cast speed. Other than that, the tree from going hybrid to low life isn't too different. Same with CI. The CI and low life trees are pretty similar. You want to get off of acrobatics because you see here you get 30% less energy shield. That's not worth it, and you get 30% less chance to block attack damage. So we don't want phase and acrobatics anymore. But you go from the life, you just go up and get the energy shield. You take off the life here, you get energy shield. You can keep the hybrid nodes, especially if you're low life. These will be nice once you get presence, because the more life you have, 20% of that with the presence of Chayula is going to be your energy shield. I went ahead and got some of that attack block and stuff because I am, the blocking attacks and recovering with the glancing blow. So you do have to get a little more block and stuff, but you pretty much just go ahead and get a bunch more energy shield instead of life. instead of Scion Life Wheel over here, you come up and get some of these energy shield nodes. Energy from within increases and reductions to life are transformed to energy shield. So these used to be hybrid nodes. You'd get max ES and max life. Well, now it's just maximum energy shield. And same up here. This reaches down to the mana and life, which is what this used to be. Now it becomes max energy shield and mana. Same here. These nodes are 5 max energy shield, 10 energy shield, and 5 all res. So that's pretty nice. It's just a little bonus. And these are pretty cheap too. It only cost me a few chaos to get these. But yeah, and then you just go ahead and get the energy shield and all of that stuff. For the sockets and stuff, for these cluster jewels, I think the important ones will be block. And if you want, there are cool large cluster ones that are very nice. There is a chaos one that will give you some attack and cast speed. So this is what I was using before I got my timeless jewel. You got 30 damage and 10 attack and cast speed, so I'm shield charging faster and my ED contagion combos faster. And then this is a very nice one. Enemies hindered by you take 10% increased chaos damage, and your chaos skills have a 10% chance to hinder enemies on hit. Now that's on hit, remember? So that's when you shield charge or when your initial ED hits. It's not when your ED is spreading. All the on hit effects are only on that initial essence drain hit. So those are pretty nice ones. You can also get the exploding. The enemies have a percent chance to explode when they die, dealing like a quarter of their max life as damage. That's a pretty nice one to get. It's not really too needed though, because our essence drain is kind of going around and popping everything anyway. Other than that, the auras I am running right now, before low life, I was running Malevolence and Flesh and Stone. So in the sand stands, so nearby enemies are blinded, and you take less damage from enemies that are not nearby. So this just makes things harder to hit when we're close, and it makes things deal less damage when they're far away. And then Malevolence just gives us 20% more damage over time. When you do CI and low life, you will have to use Discipline. This gives us a ton of energy shield. Without it, I'm down, 900 energy shield, which, isn't really that much. 5k ES isn't that much, but when we pop energy shield and go to 6k, it's much, much better. So look at that. And my discipline's not even leveled up all the way. I get a whole nother level, which is nice. I also plan, to run Zealotry when I can. I will reserve that on my life. A big upgrade as well would be Witchfire Brew. So there is a level 1, 21 Despair Curse aura around me now when you pop that flask. So that's nice when you're shield charging through, you have that popped. Everything around you is dying, and now it's dying much faster because they're being cursed around you. You don't have to cast it with Bane or self-cast or anything. When you pop this, everything around you is cursed with despair, and you get 30% increased damage over time. That's pretty nice. On top of that, you get the 100% increased evasion rating, which is nice. It pairs well with the Jade Flask. And also, I wanted to add for your wand, when you do go CI or low life, you just get +1 to level of all chaos gems. So, this is giving +1 to my essence drain here, even though it's on my wand. You can also just get some spell damage and damage over time crafted on there. The damage over time craft is found in Castle Ruins, the Castle Ruins map. So this can go all the way up to 30%. You just have to search for an empty prefix to find, the craft on there. So I searched for a wand with +1 levels, some spell damage on the prefix, and an open prefix, so that I could craft increased damage on it. It didn't cost too much. This is probably like 10 chaos or something, and it gives me a lot of damage, which is pretty nice. If you really only have a few chaos, you just need the +1 level of all chaos spell skill gems. That's really all you need if you need a budget option, but it's been going pretty well with just this wand. Other than that, This has been a great Essence Drain Contagion League. If they do nerf the Delirium kind of damage or on-kill effects, I might be able to, have more fun playing with like the 6-link bow and getting a bunch of Essence Drain damage and then having that Soul Taker quiver. But other than that, right now, I just want to focus on not dying and leveling. I died so many times so far. Let's see, I always do /played. /deaths. I've died almost 200 times, right? That's just not that fun. But it is what it is. That's kind of the name of the league. It's just dying a bunch. Everyone's dying. Everyone on hardcore is dying. It is what it is. You're probably gonna die too. So don't worry too much about it. Just try to fix it when you can. Other than that, just enjoy farming currency, progress through your atlas and all that. It should be a fun one. The Delirium mechanic is pretty neato. I kind of like it. Maybe it just needs to be tuned down just a little bit. But anyway, I don't want to hold you guys too long. We all want to get back to playing Path of Exile. So I hope you guys have a good one. Peace out.